I will be honest. I mean, a lot of parents, when they come to see me, they're feeling a large array of emotions, and sometimes many of them are, maybe lukewarm or not sure about medication, and they think, oh gosh, you're a doctor, so is that the next step? Mm-hmm. And I often will tell them that, while we can have that discussion, medicine, like I said, is just one tool in the toolbox. We really need to also focus on sleep. We need to focus on nutrition. We need to focus on that physical activity aspect, screen time moderation, family support. What do they need to understand about ADHD and what they can do to help prevent or allay things? And then behavioral strategies, including what are the skills that kids need to be taught? What are the lagging skills they have? Either social skills, cognitive behavioral skills, understanding their thoughts and feelings. Emotional reactivity is a huge part of ADHD, and we haven't even talked about that. But that is not in the DSM-4 criteria for ADHD, but it is a huge component of what we see in kids with ADHD. And so helping kids and parents have those skills to be able to talk to each other about what's happening, how they're thinking and feeling. And that's part of what I try to model when I meet families for the first time is just, we're being curious, we're being thoughtful about what's happening and inviting kids to say what they think. And sometimes they'll be like, I have no idea. But until we as parents and adults show kids that we are interested in their thoughts and opinions, we won't know, right? And so I want parents and kids to be active participants in their care plan.
Yep.
And then the school accommodations as well. They spend a large amount of time not just in the home, but at school. So what else can we be doing?
Absolutely. Part of your core philosophy that you believe in the power of clear, simple, collaborative, two-way communication, not just doctor telling a patient, do this, take this medication, right? And children, the way they can learn along with the parents, that two-way street. Tell us a little bit about the program. We're looking here at part of it, listen and learn, meet and grow. This is all part of your Let's Talk
Kids Health.
Right?
Yes. During the pandemic, obviously we couldn't see families face to face anymore. I immediately went into my basement and started doing telehealth visits. But I'm an extrovert, and so social distancing became very hard very quickly for me. And that's how I started doing my own podcast and courses online because I just needed that interaction. And I think ultimately, anxiety, depression, ADHD, at the end of the day, we have to have connection before compliance anyway, right? I mean, that is so important to the fabric of who we are as human beings, is that social connection. And so very briefly, I have an entire program that started with just Teach Me ADHD. It was meant to be a class for kids 8 to 12 to take kids and parents together, because traditionally pediatricians, when we make the diagnosis, we're like, okay, you need to go to this therapist, you need to work with the school, you need to do this. And it's all segmented and fragmented. That's just how it is. But because COVID afforded me the opportunity, we were stuck in our homes for a very long time. So instead of doing things separate, I designed a class that, kids and parents become junior and senior detectives. We're at the All Deeds Help Detective Agency. And
Cool.
And deeds are things we do with intention. So we teach and learn new skills or deeds to work on to really build those brains. And then parents were instructed on family missions to take pictures of evidence and send it into headquarters for feedback.
That's great.
So it's 8 weeks, and we cover the whole thing about what ADHD is, what it isn't. We don't talk about medication until session 6, because again, I think everything else is just as important, because I want to empower kids to know and have the knowledge and the language and the tools to then come to see me or to their teacher or an adult and say, this is what I need for to thrive. So that class has really taken off. We've helped families in, I'd say, about 19 different states and in Canada. And I now have several other pediatricians who are also helping me teach this course. And then we also just launched a couple of months ago a new one for 13 to 18-year-olds, specifically for teens. And that's led by my colleague, Dr. Kristen Stepp happy. And that one has a director's theme kind of to it. So that way teens can learn the executive function skills they need to be directors of their lives, but parents are still involved. They're still the stage managers and need to still stay in the wings to help. And then we also have our ADHD Sleuths program, which is a learning community for parents of kids any age. So that includes access to my podcast, group coaching sessions for parents, and then we have a guest on my show once a month during the academic year that parents can ask questions of the guest. And then in my clinic in Indiana, we have now the mini sleuths, which is a yoga class for kids 4 to 7 to take, taught by Amy Barnes, who is a Montessori-trained teacher and educator, but also kids yoga instructor. And it's really important to help kids learn to be observing their bodies in space and movement and pausing long enough to understand what their senses are taking in and the importance of that. So that way we can begin to build that intentionality of their bodies and awareness of things.
Congratulations. When's the book coming out? And also what I love about this is that you don't have to have a diagnosis of ADHD or even basically suspect. I mean, most of us would probably benefit from, most of our children, from this kind of coursework. So thank you for that. That's amazing.